Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Should I keep going? Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Or for Justin Bieber alone.
Something else that the jurors saw today that sort of connects it back to this alleged criminal enterprise are 7 photos of people that were very close to Sean Combs, one even his former chief of staff. And these were all people that Cassie Ventura was able to name and explain the functions in terms of what they did: security, driver, chief of staff, someone that handled financials. So it's showing that she knew some of these people, again, because she was with him, around him for so long.
Jaguar Wright recently spoke about several celebrities whom she claims left the United States following the public release of Cassie Ventura's testimony against Sean Diddy Combs. Speaking in her usual straightforward tone, Wright offered insights that have since gained traction across social media platforms and entertainment news outlets.
As the Diddy trial is opening up, people keep making this all about Diddy rather than looking at everything that's happening around it.
Rapper Tory Lanez, who's currently serving a decade in prison behind bars.
There's a lot of people that want to protect the Diddy agenda because it serves them, because allegedly they're all accomplices.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on That 70s Show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters.
Wright stated that when Cassie shared details of long-term mistreatment and alleged criminal behavior by Combs, certain prominent individuals made the decision to leave the country, even if only briefly. According to her, this was motivated by concerns that their names might be associated with the ongoing legal proceedings.
First time you heard me say that Sean Combs was an ex-trafficker, and you said I was a liar because I was jealous, because I wasn't his girlfriend, because I wasn't successful in the music industry, because I didn't have a hit record, because I didn't live in a mansion, because I didn't have diamonds. You said all of these things about me because I told the truth. You disgraced my name, my legacy, my family. You stalked, you hunted me. You harassed my friends. You put pressure on my personal relationships to the point where I had to completely disassociate myself from the whole life just so I could carry the burden of the...
She began by commending Cassie for her courage, noting that from May 13th to May 16th, Ventura gave comprehensive testimony describing years of alleged control by Combs, including physical abuse and manipulation. The case drew widespread attention not only because of the serious nature of the charges such as trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for the purpose of prostitution, but also due to the involvement of other high-profile names during jury selection and witness statements. Wright suggested that fear of media scrutiny or reputational harm drove some celebrities to distance themselves as soon as Cassie's testimony became public.
I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. it was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas. And then the next thing you know, you want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone.
The first public figure Wright identified was Jay-Z, a well-known rapper and entrepreneur who has collaborated with Combs in the past. According to Wright, Jay-Z arranged a private flight to Europe shortly after Cassie's testimony was made public. She claimed that Jay-Z became nervous after she pointed out his presence at one of Combs' gatherings, which included other industry insiders. While Jay-Z has not been accused of any wrongdoing, Wright said he was apprehensive about being contacted by investigators or journalists. She argued that his quick departure signaled that other celebrities might take similar steps.
Did you know back then, 3-4 years ago?
Gonna come forward.
So what did you? How do you know? What did you know about what Cat? Because
I wish
to hear
I could explain.
Yeah,
but if I explain how I knew Cassie was gonna come forward, that could hurt some people. I don't spend time around Cassie, and I haven't seen Cassie in person since she was with Ryan Leslie.
Was there something in her eyes that you saw? The way, like now
I'll
that
put it to you this way: there are mutual acquaintances between her and I. And that's as far as I can go.
Wright then mentioned Pharrell Williams, the acclaimed producer and artist who also has a history of working with Combs. Wright claimed Pharrell followed Jay-Z's lead, flying to Milan for a fashion event shortly after the news of Cassie's testimony surfaced. While Pharrell stated that the trip had been scheduled in advance, Wright felt the timing aligned too closely with the developments in the case.
Can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background. Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah. Amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened.
Once again, Wright emphasized that several celebrities left the U.S. following the public disclosure of Cassie Ventura's claims against Combs. Sharing these observations in her characteristically blunt manner, she presented information that quickly circulated in entertainment media. According to Wright, Cassie's testimony detailed prolonged mistreatment and alleged unlawful acts by Combs. In response, some high-profile individuals concerned they might become entangled in the trial opted to travel abroad temporarily. Wright began her remarks by acknowledging Cassie's strength, describing how Ventura, over several days from May 13th to 16th, testified about years of personal experiences involving alleged abuse and control. As the court proceedings gained traction, so did public interest, largely because of the severity of the charges and the mention of well-known figures. Wright contended that the fear of unwanted attention or reputational damage prompted these individuals to distance themselves. Immediately after the testimony was revealed,
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim, she was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting? You want to know what they all had in common, though? They were all writing tell-all books. And I'll Be Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? There's too many coincidences. Fuck you, Honeycomb. We gonna get you and your little dog, too. Run as fast as Cassie did.
the case drew significant attention not only because of the serious allegations including trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution, but also because numerous well-known figures were named during jury selection and witness testimonies. Wright stated that some of these celebrities, concerned about media coverage or potential harm to their public image, chose to leave the country shortly after Cassie's testimony began making headlines. The first individual Wright referred to was Jay-Z, the renowned rapper and business mogul with a history of working with Combs. According to Wright, Jay-Z discreetly arranged a private flight to Europe within days of Cassie's statements reaching the public.
Like I said last year, after the Cassie Diddy case was made public for the world to see on CNN.
If Kim Porter had done what she done, there would be no Cassie to testify.
You know, Mr. Combs, SC and SC, thing 1 and thing 2. They've been covering each other's ass for a long time, guys. Y'all don't see what's going on? The death of Angie Stone, Clive Davis, Diddy, Rock Nation on the verge of utter collapse. What happened to Tory? Find a way to blame it on him.
Wright claimed that Jay-Z became uneasy when she revealed that he had attended one of Combs' private gatherings alongside other industry figures. While Jay-Z has not been accused of any wrongdoing, Wright noted that he was likely concerned about possible inquiries from reporters or investigators. She argued that the swiftness of his departure suggested that other celebrities might have been preparing to do the same. Wright then brought up Pharrell Williams, the acclaimed producer and artist who also has past collaborations with Combs. According to her, Pharrell followed Jay-Z's lead and traveled to Milan for a fashion event shortly after Cassie's statements became public. Though Pharrell maintained that his trip had been planned well in advance, Wright questioned the timing.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades.
Wright believed the schedule was too closely aligned with Cassie's testimony to be entirely coincidental. She suggested that Pharrell may have been uneasy about his TIs to both Combs and Ventura. In her opinion, his prompt departure was yet another example of celebrities creating distance between themselves and the ongoing legal situation. Wright next addressed Scooter Braun, a music executive known for managing major pop and R&B artists. She claimed that just one day after Cassie's testimony was released by the media, Braun relocated his family to Canada. While Braun stated that the move was for personal reasons, Wright insisted that people close to him were saying he feared being summoned to testify or being questioned about private gatherings hosted by Combs.
Fucking right, I go to Diddy parties, which is where people like me step in. To walk mother out! Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come. Why would they talk about it? Who is there to go to? Who's gonna help them? What HR department do you know of that works for any of these labels?
Yeah.
When have you ever heard of a sexual harassment suit being publicly acknowledged in the entertainment industry at all? Never. Not in entertainment.
Tupac. Remember that one? That was.
He was the only one.
Yeah.
You saw how that turned out.
Yeah. That was.
No, guilty.
That's why they do it. To make you an example. To remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case.
To support her claims, Wright presented what she said were flight records showing Braun's late-night trip to Toronto, with first-class tickets purchased 2 days before the move. Wright also turned her attention to Kim Kardashian, the well-known media personality and entrepreneur. She noted that during Cassie's testimony, Kim was mentioned in connection to an incident where she allegedly felt jealous when Ventura attended a TV taping where Kim was present. According to Wright, Kim left for a 2-week business trip to South Africa shortly after that mention. While Kim stated that she was promoting her beauty brand internationally, Wright argued that members of Kim's inner circle believed the trip was strategically timed to avoid media attention in Los Angeles.
It's been alleged that some of our favorite celebrities like Doja Cat, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, 2 Chainz are all caught up or have been caught on camera allegedly under the influence. And that a few celebrities have died. They're saying that Brittany Murphy died from.
It's been more than a few.
Before we get there, do you feel like Diddy's defense is going to have a strong opening statement? Just
no. They couldn't even get a postponement. If they were begging for a 2-month postponement, and then when they said no, they said, well, 2 weeks. It's because they don't have a strong opening statement. They have no statement.
By the time Cassie's full testimony was added to court records, Wright pointed out that Kim Kardashian was already far removed from the U.S. media spotlight, shifting focus beyond the entertainment industry. Wright then discussed Shah Holly, an attorney recognized for representing high-profile celebrities. According to Wright, Holly quietly relocated with her family to another country just days after Cassie's statements surfaced. Although Holly explained the move was related to tax and estate planning, Wright suggested that Holly's professional ties to Combs' legal circle made her uneasy. Even though there was no evidence of her being subpoenaed or officially involved, Wright used her departure as part of what she described as a broader pattern of high-profile individuals distancing themselves from the growing scandal.
You want to know what's going to happen next? No more filter. From this point forward, any word that I say, I ain't holding back. And I ain't saying alleged either. Y'all said I was lying the first time. Now it turns out I'm telling the truth. You still don't want to admit that I was right, but you don't want to admit that you was wrong. I'm going to just keep ruining your lives with the truth.
And here we go.
Shout out to Cat Williams. Yeah. Shout out to Lunell Campbell.
Let's go.
Shout out to Kanye Ye West. Shout out to my very good friend, Fred Hampton Jr., the chairman of the board for the Black Panther Party. Free them all. Power to the people.
Wright also brought up another major name, Rihanna, the globally successful singer and performer who had previously attended events involving Combs. Wright referenced a specific part of Cassie's account the night Combs allegedly humiliated Ventura during an after-party where she had met Rihanna. According to Wright, this incident may have contributed to Rihanna choosing not to remain in Los Angeles. Instead, Wright said Rihanna checked into a luxury villa in Ibiza and released a brief statement saying she was celebrating upcoming music. However, within a week, she was spotted enjoying herself at a cafe in Bonaire, seemingly unbothered by media or paparazzi attention. Wright used this as another example of celebrities linked to Combs choosing to lie low overseas.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. Want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing.
So are you trying to say like Jay-Z put hands on you?
I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. It's gonna be the women that give him in the end.
Continuing in her usual straightforward tone, Wright criticized major media outlets for quickly labeling these absences as simple vacations or professional travel. She argued that a deeper look into boarding passes, quick Instagram uploads, and social media updates revealed a pattern. According to Wright, these weren't just coincidental trips, but part of a broader, deliberate strategy to stay out of the public eye. They leave first and explain it later, she said, referring to what she believed was a coordinated retreat from attention.
None of this makes sense. What really does make sense is that Diddy has had a long career of using to trap niggas into making them do what he wants to do or using them to move them out the way. How is Faith Evans any different than Lauren London? How? No difference at all.
The Jaguar Wright show. Here we are.
Okay, oh, you got this security too? Oh, wow, Jaguar came with security too.
Pleasure to meet you. You know, this first and foremost, I mean, this is, you know, the creating this file, everything, the trying to get home. You know, what are you feeling? What are you experiencing right now? How important was it for you to be here?
Paramount. There needs to be someone here who's been here all along. I've been waiting for this moment for 5 years, and here we are. And I'm praying that everyone remembers there are survivors, real life survivors. And I hope that everyone takes into account how necessary a true verdict, a just verdict now.
Wright emphasized that the motivation wasn't necessarily guilt, but fear of being linked to headlines or controversy, even if they had done nothing wrong. One of the more striking points Wright raised involved former NFL star Chad Okosinko-Johnson, who had also explored acting. She stated that Johnson's name came up in Cassie's testimony as someone Combs allegedly sent to pick her up from a film set in 2015. Although Cassie only said that Johnson was helpful when she reached out to him. Wright told her viewers that shortly after the testimony went public, Johnson boarded a flight to Dubai. If you've been following these unexpected celebrity moves, we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think it's all just coincidence or something more? Hit that like button, drop your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered breakdowns of stories the mainstream won't cover.